Hey everyone, this is Razador's Pokemon Shenanigans, and welcome to another solo challenge. We're headed back to Juan for what's surely going to be the toughest run on this channel, and I wager that status will go uncontested for quite a while. Aron is basically this region's Geodude, but as a Rock Steel type, Aron's got a lot of obstacles ahead of him. Our physical defense is great for a first Formon, and our dual typing is going to make us pretty tanky in the physical department. Attack's not too bad either. HP lives a lot to be desired, while our special stats are bad and we are extremely slow. Base 30 speed means we're going to be getting outsped for a vast majority of this run. As for our moves, we start with Tackle and Hard, and we're pretty solid for the beginning since most Pokemon we'll be facing up to the first gym will be using physical moves, including Normal and Flying, which we both double resist. Headbutt's pretty good for the early game, and we get it at level 10. What's going to be great later on is that we get Double Edge at 44, and I made sure that our Aron had the Rock-type ability, meaning that we won't suffer from recoil damage. Iron Defense is a keeper too, especially because the second gym is the Fighting Gym, and though we're physically bulky, we are still 4 times weak to fighting. While I don't care for Iron Tail, it is worth using with the same type attack bonus. Having Metal Claw by the time we get to Roxanne is going to at least make her easy. I'm gonna be savoring easy major battles every time we get an easy victory, because there aren't going to be very many for our poor little Jaeger Bomb. Aron's actually got decent coverage, but much of our coverage comes in the form of special attacks. Our special attack base is already low, and we have Careful Nature, which gives us a boost to special defense at the cost of 10% special attack, so we're not going to be using any special moves this run. On the flip side, we can learn Earthquake via TM, and we can teach Rock Tomb, which will have the same type attack bonus. For some reason, we can learn Aerial Ace, a move that's described as being so fast that it can't be evaded. I like to think that Aron just leaps into the air and lets gravity take the wheel. But yeah, as you see on screen, we pretty much talked over the Roxanne fight. It's just spam Metal Claw. It's super effective against her entire team, and yeah, we're good. Now, as we make our way over to Dewford, we're going to go to Granite Cave first, because I do want to grab something that makes these runs a little bit more convenient here in Juan. Inside of Granite Cave, you can get yourself an Everstone. This is useful for grinding off of random trainers, and it just makes you not have to press B as much. While we are here, might as well take a crack at the gym, and I mean, we're not going to do very well because being Rock Steel type against the Fighting Gym is a recipe for disaster. But by checking how much damage we can do against the Machop, that'll gauge how much we have to level up. And case in point, a non-critical Karate Chop takes us down to 11 health, and Headbutt's doing... well, it's not doing enough. Now, I don't want to leave here empty-handed. I would at least like to try to get to Meditite, because I'd like to see how much damage we do to all of Brawly's Pokemon. A task that is much easier said than done, considering that Machop can take us out in a single attack. What we would like to have happen here is for us to crit Machop, and Machop using Bulk Up, which is a double-edged sword because it makes him stronger and tankier, but a critical hit at the right time will bypass it. And we do have Mud Slap, which does lower accuracy by 1 stage. It's basically Sand Attack, but deals a little bit of damage. We can use accuracy drops to get by Machop as well. Again, something that's easier said than done, because accuracy drops, well, they're only going to do so much. We will eventually get hit. But at 11 health, that's familiar, we do finally take down Machop, and Meditite's not a problem. It only has Focus Punch. And the damage that we're dealing is actually pretty good, because that means Brawly's going to waste the rest of his healing on Meditite. And we can set up an Iron Defense, you know, just in case. Feeling a little optimistic here, probably foolishly so, but hey, one can dream, right? And as we bring Meditite down low, Brawly goes to heal again, allowing us to set up another Iron Defense, and we take out the Meditite with a critical Headbutt. As Makuhita comes out, we deal just under half, and Vital Throw, yeah, no way are we surviving that. So, time to go grind off some trainers. Coming back at level 24, Machop does take us out, so we're going to redo it. And Headbutt does great damage. This time we don't get crit off a Karate Chop. The Oran Berry brings us up to 36, and thankfully Metal Claw doesn't miss, and we get an attack boost. Against Meditite, we'll go ahead and use Mud Slap. It's going to deal enough damage to bring it down to red, because again, we want Brawly to waste the super potions on Meditite here. Brawly heals, we go for Metal Claw. Don't get the attack boost, unfortunately. And to sweeten the deal, we get a critical Headbutt on Makuhita. Next up is the infamous rival battle, and that's going to be rough because he has a Marsh Stomp with Mud Shot, which we're 4 times weak to. and water gun, which uses special, which we are single weak to, but probably will deal more damage once we set up some iron defenses. Now, just like in my Murkrow run, I slap on a Sherry Berry thinking that he's going to be leading off with Shroomsh with Stun Spore. I actually started this run well before the Murkrow run, so yeah, that's why I did that. Man, when I saw that Lombre come out when I first did this run, I was like, man, that could have been an Oran Berry to get some health back. But at least Lombre is a lot easier to deal with because I like not dealing with Stun Spore. Swapping to Marsh Stomp, interesting choice, and Bide. We'll go ahead and top off our defense with 2 more iron defenses. Headbutt does okay damage, and of course we get hit with both water guns. It's not like we dropped its accuracy or anything. But that's pretty much the strategy, is just fight Lombre as normal and hit Marsh Stomp with Mud Slap and hope to heck it misses. And we're gonna hope to be able to set up some opportunities for iron defense. Interestingly enough, he goes for Bide quite a bit, and I wasn't expecting Bide to be that much of an obstacle, but it turned out to be so. Really aren't having much in the way of luck when it comes to dropping Marsh Stomp's accuracy. And for this fight, we need to if we don't want to overlevel, because Marsh Stomp can easily take us 1v1. And I'm also not interested in overleveling because I don't want future battles to get too easy in lieu of being too high a level. But we've taken out most of the trainers, and grinding off a wild Pokemon, that's a giant no thank you. Now in this attempt, thanks to a flinch and him not switching out, we don't have an opportunity to set up iron defense, but he once again goes for Bide. As we go to set up iron defense, Bide does miss. That was cool. His first water gun does hit us, thankfully no crit, but the second one misses and we finally take out the Marsh Stomp. And while Takedown is tempting because we have Rock Hit, it does miss. I'd rather just keep Headbutt for the guaranteed 100 accuracy, even if it is a little weaker. And one Headbutt takes out Slugma. That's awesome. And if you thought we were out of the woods yet, oh baby, were you ever ring-a-ding wrong. Watson leading off with Voltorb is bad because it has Spark, and I feel like I get paralyzed by that like 90% of the time. But it is funny to see Self-Destruct do like no damage. One Headbutt does take out Electrike, thankfully no static proc. Mud Slap is double super effective, and for some reason he goes for Supersonic. Well, that's cool because he missed, and Shockwave doesn't, so not sure why that happened. Well, I don't think it's gonna matter anyway, because we're paralyzed, so we lose a couple turns, and we, take out Manectric with Headbutt. That's cool. Well, I didn't see that one coming, so let's go beat up Maxie. Wasn't our first try, you saw the reset, but like, yeah, I didn't think that was gonna happen. Oh, right, yeah, Maxie. Gotta cover this fight. It starts off with Mightyena hitting us with Sand Attack, obviously it's faster, and we slap it with some Mud, drop its accuracy, and Iron Tail hitting with a defense drop, pretty sweet. I go for Iron Defense, and it's a good thing that I did, because out comes Camerupt. Now, Camerupt's opening Ember does miss, thankfully, also no burn, but Magnitude 8 will hit us, and you'll see just how great Iron Defense is. We take a lot less damage than we would have otherwise. And we don't win this attempt, but yeah, we're gonna need Iron Defense if we want to win. I can see Camerupt being a consistent problem throughout this run because we're double weak to ground. Clearly this is going to take a couple of tries, but with how hard we lucked out against Watson, honestly, I'm not going to complain. Sometimes Mightyena won't go for Sand Attack, and that would be optimal. Well, I say that, but we get flinched off of Bite and then get hit by Sand Attack. Interestingly enough, he doesn't switch out to Camerupt, but what I can say is that we can see how useful Secret Power is because it has secondary effects depending on where you are. As you saw, Mightyena got confused, which is super awesome. As for Camerupt, we'll hit it with a couple of Mud Slaps. It is weak to it. Magnitude 5 does miss us. We confuse Camerupt, and it's low enough to finish itself off. Against Zubat, which is a downgrade from Golbat and Ruby, we do miss a couple of Secret Power. The last one does hit, and Zubat takes itself out with Confusion. Secret Power was a super MVP move in this battle. Now, as for Flannery, her first two Pokemon, Numel and Slugma, are easy one-shots with Secret Power, and Camerupt isn't too bad either. I don't remember if it has Magnitude in this fight. It does hit us with Attract, and thankfully it doesn't stall us out too much, and a couple of hits of Secret Power take it out after she heals. And now against Torkoal, we can't use Mud Slap strats because of its ability. Headbutt's doing, what is that, like a fifth? Not great, and it only takes one Overheat to take us out. Now, Overheat can miss. There is a 10% chance. Now, the good thing about this fight is that we outspeed everything here. I say that because what we can do against Torkoal is go for some flinch luck. Some flinches, some critical hits at the right time. And I figure while we're at it, we can slap on the Silk Scarf for just a bit more damage because, I mean, it's not like we can survive an Overheat, and even if we could, an Oran Berry wouldn't heal us nearly enough to be able to tank another one. Now, I could also teach Dig here if I wanted to, but I actually don't, because we're going to replace it with Earthquake anyway. And I like having a Pokemon on the field, like one of our HM users who can use Dig. I usually slap it on Zigzagoon because it comes with Surf and Cut and all that good stuff. Oh, I'm going to correct myself here. I said Flinch earlier. I meant Paralysis because indoors Secret Power procs Paralysis. I got that confused with Headbutt. But yeah, it's looking like we're going to need Overheat to miss and some super, super lucky Paralysis strats to come in. But hey, that won't stop me from repeating attempts here. Now, I need you to watch this because this absolutely blew my mind. Okay, so Slugma and Numa, we know that they're one-shots at this point, but watch this fight with Torkoal. We're hitting him with Mud Slap. We get slapped with Attract and lose quite a bit of turns. But she's going for Tackle, even though, doesn't this Camerupt also have Overheat? And of course, despite the accuracy drop, she's getting in quite a bit of tackles. I mean, they're not really doing damage, but, you know, when you drop your accuracy that much, and you're attacking with a move that's not 100 accurate, you'd think that she wouldn't be hitting this much. It actually has me very glad that she's going for Tackle, because Overheat would have definitely killed us by now. And we lose not one more, but 2 more turns to Attract, and she's still going for Tackle. It's great that she's fighting like a complete dope. And if that wasn't enough, we paralyze Torkoal with Secret Power, and it goes for Body Slam. And then she goes for Attract, and we win. I like to think that Flannery just took pity on me, and it's just like, you know what, proceed. Your run's about to get way harder. Well, hold that thought, Flannery, because next up is the normal gym, and yeah, Norman does have a slacking. He's got a pretty good team, but considering that his best moves are double resisted by us, this might actually be okay. We might actually have a fairly easy fight for once. That said, I'd best hold my tongue because I don't want to jinx myself here. Now, obviously, Spinda is faster, goes for Teeter Dance. We don't lose our turn to Confusion. Norman will heal, perfect. We do hit ourselves in Confusion, and Spinda goes for Teeter Dance again. We're already confused. Well, not anymore, we're not. And we hit with a critical Mud Slap. Sweet. Spinda hits us with Psybeam for 5 damage. Wow. The follow-up Secret Power takes it down. Sending out Slacking mad early, so we're going to go for Iron Defense. Good thing we did, because Slacking goes for Counter. And here's our strategy. We're going to use Iron Defense on turns where it's going to go for Counter, because it likes to do that. On turns where it's loafing around thanks to Truant, we can use Mud Slap to destroy its accuracy. Now, we're going to do this for a couple more turns. We'll even use Iron Defense when it doesn't do anything for us, because we don't want to get hit by Counter. This turn we hit with Iron Tail and get the defense drop. Very nice, but it does heal with the Citrus Berry, and better safe than sorry. We'll go and use Iron Defense one more time, just for safety. We go for Iron Tail. Thankfully, it hits, and thanks to that defense drop, bye-bye Slacking. Next up is Vigoroth. Feint Attack deals 5 damage, and Iron Tail's almost a one-shot. Norman's going to use another Hyper Potion, and we'll use Mud Slap to deal a bit of damage. Now, Feint Attack bypasses Evasion and Accuracy modifiers, but that's not what we're going for. 1 Iron Tail, bye-bye. Out comes Linoon, and we get critically hit by Facade, and it deals 8 damage, and we have exceptional defense, and our typing is just awesome for this matchup. Thanks to that lucky Paralysis, now we are faster and finish off Linoon. Weird to think that Flannery's difficult and Norman's easy. Like, even the trainers in Norman's gym were harder than he was. Now, normally the last required rival fight is super easy, but since we're playing as Aron and it's raining there, I'm actually going to cover this fight if you can believe it. Once again, our rival leads off with Lombre, and it has absolutely no moves that can hurt us, so that's not what we care about here. Marsh Stomp's the dangerous one here, and Rain Dance makes Water Gun extra scary. Yeah, he's still using that for some reason. So, as it comes out, check this. We deal about half of its health with Secret Power, we paralyze it, and it loses its turn to Paralysis. Okay, well, this fight would have been hard. I guess even the game was like, nah, this fight's never hard. We're gonna keep that consistent. RNGesus Kun is smiling upon little Jaeger Bomb here, and that smile's gonna be needed because next up is the Flying Gym. A gym you think would be easy, but nah, this is actually gonna be pretty hard. Now, on paper, this is a great matchup, and there's definitely worse matchups out there. Their flying moves aren't gonna do much to us. The problem is that Winona's team is pretty good and has quite a variety of moves. Not only that, she leads off with Swablu, who has Perish Song, if you remember that from the Murkrow run. And Dud Mirror move, we miss Rock Tomb, and oh, there's Perish Song, there's a reset. The real threat in this fight is Altaria. Altaria has Earthquake and is going to be way faster than us. Now, thankfully, Altaria doesn't get same type from it, but you can see just how much damage it does, how little health we have left. So that means that we're gonna have to set up Iron Defense against a Pokemon who has Perish Song. Oh, perish the thought. Nothing but high-quality jokes and puns here on this channel. So I end up setting up just when we take out Swablu, no problem. Even with the speed drop from Rock Tomb, Altari is faster, but thankfully we don't miss either of our Rock Tombs. 80 accuracy in this generation. Against Pelipper, Supersonic misses, Rock Tomb brings it to a sliver, she heals up. Double Edge is almost a one-shot, that's awesome. That speed drop made us faster too, so that's sweet. Skarmory, Sand Attack, Rock Tomb hits, surprisingly. And not one, but our second Iron Tail hits. Unfortunately doesn't finish off Skarmory, but the defense drop, very nice. Doesn't matter, unfortunately, because after that heal, and we do miss a couple of double edges, Steel Wing does activate, so that defense drop is negated. With just 24 health left, we crit with Rock Tomb and take out Skarmory. That was a pretty scary fight, I have to say. So, as we squash our optional rival fight at Lily Cove, let's go ahead and talk strategy for Maxie, and especially Tate and Liza. Tate and Liza is the fight I'm more worried about, because, you know, all of her Pokemon have Levitate, and we could teach Earthquake at that point, but no point since, again, they have Levitate, it won't work. Tate and Liza's Claydol has Earthquake and gets the same type from it, so that's gonna be super hard for us to get by. We're for sure gonna have to level up. And Maxie's Camerupt also has Earthquake, so he's no pushover in this run. And of course, because Maxie leads off with Mighty Endo, there's Intimidate that we have to contend with, Sand Attack, Scary Face too, but we're already slow, so I doubt he'll use it. Basically, if he goes for Scary Face, that's a free turn for us. And for Tate and Liza, since you need a second Pokemon to fight their team, since they're double battle, I'm going to use Meryl, just like before, because Meryl has Defense Curl. It's just there to waste a turn and take a hit, because otherwise you can't fight them. But now that we're about to square down with Maxie, let's go and focus on this fight first. Have to beat this guy before we can fight the Psychic Gem, right? Well, I have to say, it starts off on a very interesting note. We do get hit by Intimidate, but Mighty Endo goes for Swagger and it connects, so that not only is the attack debuff removed, but our attack's up by one stage, but we are confused. And we hit ourselves again. Amazing. Okay, another takedown, another hit in confusion. And again, takedown. And we hit ourselves again. Well, with only 10 health left, this fight's a bust. And with 7 health, I mean, we snap out of confusion. We do one-shot Mighty Endo with Iron Tail, so that's cool at least. Well, next up's Camerupt, and we are faster thanks to Swagger's attack buff. We are able to one-shot it with Double Edge, that's cool. And we level up, so we have a little bit more health going into the Crobat fight. And those hit points mattered because we have 1 health from Bite, we don't flinch, and we take out Crobat with Double Edge. I can't believe that just happened. Oh, that fight was an emotional roller coaster, let me tell you. Well, now it's time for the Psychic Gym, and we've gotten a few level ups since then. We're level 58 going into this. I don't think that we're gonna win, nor are we gonna outspeed anything. I just want to see how we match up and how much damage we deal. Again, Meryl is there only because I need a second Pokemon, and with Defense Curl, it's just gonna waste a turn before it gets taken out. Interestingly enough, unlike in the Murkrow run, Xatu will immediately target the Meryl. I don't know why that didn't happen in the last run either, but whatever. I say that because we're now taking the full brunt of Earthquake, and you're going to see how much damage that deals. That's not a one-shot. Okay, you know what? We can work with this. How about Double Edge's damage? Okay, yes, we know that Earthquake doesn't affect Xatu, and okay, that's not bad. You know what? That's not bad. Let's go level up a few levels, grab the Shell Belt, and then we'll come back here for round 2. Okay, we're level 68, and it starts off just like before. No way are we outspeeding this team, but we don't really need to outspeed them. We take a lot less damage from Earthquake now, and Iron Tail is in fact a one-shot on Claydol. Nice. As Soul Rock comes out, we'll go for it. Thankfully, we don't miss. We don't want that thing sticking around. It has Sunny Day and Flamethrower, so no thanks. Xatu does slip in Confuse Ray, but no problem. We power through it. Down goes Xatu and 1 Iron Tail. All that's left is Lunatone. It can go for whatever it wants. It doesn't matter. It's weak to Iron Tail. Easy one-shot. Nice clean sweep against the Psychic Gym, with a monumental disadvantage of being slower than everything we were fighting. And next up is a required mandatory double battle with Steven here. Not going to talk too much about this. I mean, it's kind of annoying anyway. But funny enough, in this run, Aron had a much better time in this double battle than Murkrow did. Something that you wouldn't think is possible. But, you know, that happened. We had much better luck with their move choice. We were dealing okay damage despite Intimidate, and of course the Shell Bell keeps us nice and healthy, so that's cool. So next up is Archie, and Archie is just Maxie, but swap out Camerupt with Sharpedo, so he is a bit weaker. I've always been of the opinion that Camerupt is a bit better than Sharpedo, but he does have a Mightyena and a Crobat, like his Magma counterpart. You know, when I went into this fight, I was thinking, you know, it would be absolutely hilarious if we had the exact same thing happen against Maxie, against Archie. I guess there's only one way to find out, right? Well, there's Swagger, but we immediately take out Mightyena. That's all well and good, but I have to say, I'm surprised he sent out Crobat because Sharpedo is part water type. Golbat goes for Confuse Ray, and oh, now we're hitting ourselves. We don't hit ourselves on the follow-up, and we crit Crobat. We probably didn't need that crit either, but Overkill's always fun. Now, as Sharpedo comes out, it goes for Screech, which is pretty bad because it lowers our defense by 2 stages, and we have an attack boost from Swagger. That strategy does work out for a little bit for Archie, but we bust out a Confusion. There's Double Edge. Yeah, we'll take a bit of damage from Rough Skin. Who cares? We win. So, in preparation for the Water Gym, we're going to be taking out every single optional trainer there to get as much experience as possible. Now, Juan's team is a bit different from Wallace's and Ruby, which is fine, really. I mean, the Kingdra is the one I'm really worried about. Leading off with Love Disc isn't the worst thing in the world, because although we do get confused off Sweet Kiss, we power through it and take out Love Disc with a single Double Edge. For level 70, I would hope that's the case. Next up is Celia. We outspeed, we snap out of Confusion hit with Rock Tomb, and it's a one-shot. Juan chooses to send out Crawdaunt next, fine by me. We're faster, and that's also a one-shot with Double Edge. Next up is his ace, Kingdra, the one I'm really worried about. He's much faster than we are, and deals about half our total health with Water Pulse, but we crit for a one-shot. Last and certainly not least is Whiscash, who is faster than we are, surprisingly. Takes us to 9 health with Earthquake. Oh man. But almost isn't enough. One shot with Double Edge. You know, if we were one level lower, Whiscash would have taken us out. Now, the only thing really interesting about the Wally fight is that I finally get rid of Rock Tomb. I mean, with the same type of attack bonus in the speed drop, it's been pretty useful this entire run. But we're going to need the pure power of Earthquake. I mean, he has a Magneton in this fight, too. Double leak to it, so it's going to be very useful. But in general, we match up pretty well against Wally's team, and we are quite over-leveled for this. We had to be for the Psychic Gym and the Water Gym, but for Wally, not really. And I gotta say, I am pretty worried about this Elite Four, because pretty much every member we're going to be going up against has something about them that's going to make Aron's little trip here in the league especially brutal. Wallace is champion, and he has an entire team of water types which we're weak against. Sydney does have a Crawdaunt, which I believe has Surf. That's going to be hard. Phoebe has Curse, and one of her Dusclops has Earthquake, although it's not particularly strong. Glacia is super effective against us. And Drake has a Kingdra with Surf, and a Flygon with same type Earthquake. And I'm pretty confident we're going to be slower than just about everything going forward here. And as we battle Sydney, you'll notice that we have another new move on our set here, but we'll talk about that here in a minute. Sydney leading off with Mightyena intimidates real bad here, and not only do we get hit by Sand Attack, but thanks to the attack drop, Iron Tail is so close to being a one-shot, but again, almost isn't enough. He ends up swapping to Crawdaunt. I've never seen him swap out before, but I understand why. Thankfully, both Earthquakes hit, although we take a ton of damage off of Surf. He sends Mightyena back out, so we take a second Intimidate. That was pretty smart and probably an accident. Sydney does heal Mightyena, and thankfully Iron Tail does hit. Still does okay damage. Crunch drops our special defense because of course it does. Earthquake does connect though, so that's 2 down. And against Cacturn, our luck has run out. Iron Tail misses, we get hit by Cotton Spore. Now faster than us, we get hit by Needle Arm. We survive with a little bit, but doesn't matter. We miss, and yeah, that's a reset. I legit thought we'd do better than that. And it's right around this time I realized that we need to get a little bit stronger. Now, as you bear witness to some real lopsided failed attempts here, let me talk about why I replaced Double Edge. It was super useful this entire run. But going forward, I just don't think we're going to need it. With Rollout, we might not have Defense Curl. I mean, we can get Defense Curl. That is located at the Battle Frontier, though, and I don't want to do the Battle Frontier. The reason for that is because Rollout with Aron gets the same type attack bonus. And in case you need a refresher, Rollout is a 5-turn attack, and it doubles in power every time it's used. Normally with 30 base power, it's 30, 60, 120, 240, and the final Rollout is 480. With the same type attack bonus, it's 45, 90, 180, 360, 720. Iron Tiger loves that. And it might not be as strong as Defense Co-Rollout, but I don't think we'll need it again. Same type really does make a difference. And it might not be very apparent right now because we're getting our butts kicked pretty hard by Sydney against something I was not expecting. I thought we'd make it at least to Phoebe with some difficulty. But I fully expect that we will need Rollout for Glacia because her entire team is weak to it. Drake because we're going to need a miracle for that. And Wallace, who has moves that are super effective against us clear across the board. Now, I do leave and go grind in Victory Road for a couple of level ups, because I figure, hey, maybe with a couple of levels, we'll either outspeed Mightyena, or with Intimidate, we can potentially make that Iron Tail a one-shot. Maybe we'll get a more favorable damage range, or at least establish a damage range. And it's kind of funny looking at this in hindsight through the power of editing. I'm just looking at past me and I'm like, you sweet summer child. If only you knew what lies ahead of you. Because if we're having this much trouble with Sydney, you know that at least Drake and certainly Wallace are going to be an absolute nightmare for us. I'm not convinced that Phoebe's going to be that hard. I think she'll be easier than Sydney. And Glacia Rollout just needs to hit me out to be at least faster than some of her team. And turns out I was right to hit level 75 because Iron Tail, even with Intimidate, one-shots Mightyena. Crawdaunt goes for Swords Dance because that powers up Surf, and fine by me, 2 Earthquakes is all it takes to take him down. Cacturne's a one-shot with Iron Tail. Shiftry isn't very close, and we're getting pretty good luck despite the fact we have an accuracy drop and Shiftry is going for a double team. However, when Sydney heals, even though we hit with Earthquake for a bit of damage, we're missing again, and again, and again. Then we get hit by Swagger and by Torment, so we have to change up our moves. So this just went from being pretty sweet to being nightmare fuel. Well, that's what I thought anyway, because Absol goes for Swords Dance and we connect with Earthquake. Now, as we get ready to square down with Phoebe, in Pokemon Emerald, her Dusclops every single time on turn 1 will go for Protect. I mean, if it doesn't, let me know. I've never not seen it go for Protect on turn 1. I say that because that gives us 1 free turn to use Iron Defense. That said, we have to be very careful with both Dusclops because they have the ability Pressure, so instead of using 1 power point, we use 2. That's the whole shtick of her first Dusclops, is Protect to stall out your power points. And real shame that Iron Tail's not a one-shot. That's probably a damage range, probably because Earthquake did a ton of damage there. Protect doesn't matter, we're starting Rollout, down goes the first Dusclops. We hit with the second one, take very little damage off of Earthquake, thanks Iron Defense, and the follow-up Rollout takes it down. Bayonet hits with weak Thunderbolt, turn 4 Rollout, easily able to one-shot it. Bayonet number 2 hits us with Will-O-Wisp, but doesn't matter, max turn Rollout, bye-bye. The Sableye comes out and tries to go for double team to get us to miss, but even with Burn, 3 Rollouts, all it takes. Next up is Glacia, and let's see if I'm right about Rollout being a super sweeper here, because all of her Pokemon are Ice type, some of them Heart. I doubt that we'll outspeed Walrein, but as long as we can outspeed the 2 Celio and maybe the Glalie, we should be alright. And it turns out we are faster. Now, Celio number 1 will always go for Hail, so this is a free kill barring we don't miss, which we don't. Walrein's faster. Oh my god, 17 health left. Oh boy. Rollout does hit. That's going to give us some health back. Hail chips us down a bit. Glalie is faster, and Ice Beam brings us to... Oh my god. I don't know if I can handle this. This is intense. Rollout ends on the second Celio, but so too does Hail, prompting Glalie to set up Hail, and we take it out with Iron Tail. Oh man. Wow. Man, Sydney was so hard, but then Phoebe and Glacia are just kinda like whatever. But we don't have time to celebrate because Drake's next, and I know he's going to be awful. Now, he leads off with Shelgon, not the worst thing in the world, because Shelgon, like Phoebe's Dusclops, likes to go for Protect on turn 1 so we can set up Iron Defense. In most runs, Rock Tomb would be annoying because of a speed drop, but we're slower than everything except Shelgon, although now we are slower. That defense drop is pretty nice. We can set up Iron Tail, and Shelgon does stall us a bit with Protect, but once Protect fails, Iron Tail one-shot's all it takes. Somebody sends out Kingdra, and I'm like, oh boy, we have to go forward with Rollout here. Or not, Critical Hit Earthquake works too. Now, against Flygon, we do have some bad luck with Iron Tail, and you can see just how handy Iron Defense is. Now, we do take out the Flygon. I'm surprised that Drake didn't heal because he's super low on health. And, I mean, it wouldn't matter anyway because Salamence can take us out with whatever it wants to use, Crunch in this case. Okay, this is going to be a hard one, but I don't think this is going to be as straight up asinine as Sydney. Tougher? Yeah, probably, but certainly more manageable. I mean, Kingdra with Smokescreen is going to be annoying, but we're going to need to build rollout on Shelgon, which is going to be annoying because you saw before he goes for Protect, so he can just cancel out our rollout whenever he wants to. Now, this isn't going to take half a dozen tries, a dozen tries, 24 tries, or what have you. No, this is going to take a long time. But again, I feel a lot more motivated in this one because there is some luck involved with being able to take out this team. But luck is kind of a component when you're relying on rollout anyway. And not having to deal with stuff like Sand Attack, I mean, Kingdra has it too, but no double team users on this team makes this a lot more manageable for me personally. But at the same time, that could just be false hope just dangled right in front of me, and I'm just like, I'm gonna get you, and Drake's like, nope, you almost had it. You gotta be quicker than that. Well, we'll see about that, Drake. I'm pretty confident that this strategy will in fact work. Alright, so, turn 1, Iron Defense, Rock Tomb, don't care. Protect is perfectly fine, we're just gonna keep on going for Iron Defense. Dragon Claw, whatever. Okay, our defense is topped off. Iron Tail brings Shelgon low, so when Drake goes to heal, it's rollout time. He goes for Dragon Claw, which is great because we need turn 3 rollout to take out Kingdra. Could have gone for Surf and done a lot of damage, but Dragon Dance is cool too. Rollout doesn't miss Flygon, down it goes. And we have a max power rollout for Salamence. We don't get burned off Flamethrower, thankfully. Turn 1 rollout against Altaria misses, but it just goes for Dragon Dance, that's fine. Dragon Breath paralyzes us. But we only lose 1 turn to paralysis. We end the fight with a little under half of our health. Honestly, not too bad. That took less time than Sydney, I'll tell you that. And next up is Wallace, and I gotta say I'm pretty nervous because I know most of his team's going to be faster than us. I'm hoping that we can at least beat Waylord so we can at least gauge how far we get, who he sends out after Waylord, etc. Like, I know that Waylord isn't the fastest, but, I mean, we're playing as an Aron with base 30 speed. So if it turns out that we're slower, this is kind of all for naught, because if he goes first, well, that's bad. Now, as Wallace sends out Waylord, I figure we'll go for Earthquake to soften up so he doesn't take us out with Water Spout. Oh, God. And I decided to try again, hoping for a speed tie, and spoilers, it's not. After all that work, I'm here. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna bite the bullet because we're gonna need to power up anyway. I figure for the first time on this channel, we're gonna get to level 100, and the scary thing is, I don't even know if that's going to make a difference because we don't gain much in the way of speed when we level up. However, if we could just outspeed the Waylord, we'll have a shot at this. I decided to just grind off of the Elite Four, honestly, because we can beat Phoebe and Glacia without much of a problem. Sydney is annoying, but as we get stronger, we'll eventually outspeed Mighty Anna. He's whatever. And, I mean, you see it on screen. We're level 100, and we don't even have 90 speed. Oh, although, Careful Nature came in pretty handy here. 135 special defense, that just might be the difference maker. As you can see by the endgame timer, I was grinding for a while. Well, it's time to see if this grinding actually amounts to anything, because if we're slower than Waylord still, we're gonna get one shot by Water Spout. It deals damage based on how much health he has, and at full health, and with as much health as Waylord has, yeah. But turns out Christmas came early for Roz here, as we are faster than Waylord, or it's a speed tie. I'm being pessimistic. Great damage, too. So Wallace is gonna use a full restore, and we're gonna use Iron Defense. Okay, now I'm pretty sure that we're faster, so that's awesome. Rain Dance, not great. We're going to go for Iron Defense and Water Spout crit, because of course. But we're going to set up another Iron Defense, and are you kidding me? Another Water Spout crit? Well, what time better than the present to start up a rollout? Out comes Gyarados. It goes for Surf, does a ton of damage, but we are able to take it out despite Intimidate. The rain stops, out comes Tentacruel, and it does not miss Hydro Pump. Okay, so Waylord, Gyarados, and Tentacruel. At level 100, it's do or die, baby. We're gonna keep going for rollout strats here because that is the way to win this fight. It's pretty wild that we're at level 100, and Wallace is extremely difficult for us. Like, I knew that Aron would be tough, but man, I did not think the endgame would be anywhere near this brutal. So basically, what we need to have happen is that we have to take out Waylord without getting wrecked by Water Spout. Gyarados is kind of whatever. We're going to take damage whether he uses Earthquake or Surf, but he's going to go for Surf because we're buffing with Iron Defense. To get further into this fight, Tentacruel has to miss with Hydro Pump. And I mean, if we get hit with it without Rain Dance and we have high health, we'll survive it. But we're going to be easy pickings for the rest of the team. And speaking of the rest of the team, here in a sec, we are going to make it a little bit farther into the fight, as I'm starting to think of other ways that we can make this a bit easier for ourselves here. Interestingly enough, after Tentacruel, he sends out Ludicolo. I thought he'd send out Milotic, but alright. It might look hopeless, but nope, we have one last trick up our sleeve. Now, as we use Earthquake on Wailord, you'll see that we taught Sunny Day. It's a move you'd never think to use on an Aron, but it's pivotal for this fight because it's going to cut the damage of water attacks in half, and it will cancel out Rain Dance, so Wailord's Parting Water Spout deals pitiful damage. As Gyarados comes out, it goes for Earthquake, and you can see Iron Defense is just such an amazing move. Also, he's a one-shot. We are stuck in rollout, the sun is still out, and Hydro Pump misses. We have a shot at winning this fight now. Rollout does connect excellent. Critical hit, overkill. Ludicolo goes for a double team, but his petty little tricks won't work on Jaeger Bomb. Sunny Days off, my Milotic Surf does a ton of damage, but one rollout, bye-bye. Against Whiscash, we'll go for Earthquake, and he goes for Amnesia. Okay. And, I mean, Earthquake can't miss, so, wait, does Whiscash really not have Surf in this fight? I thought it did. Well, I don't care, we won. Oh god, that was brutal! Oh, we are the Pokemon champion as Aron, that's pretty sweet. But we have one more fight to do in this run. In the post-game, there is a secret battle against Steven Stone. It's basically his team from Ruby, but they have 20+ levels, so they're way stronger. And I gotta say, in stark contrast to Wallace and this entire Elite Four experience, I am not actually that worried about Steven. That might sound strange, but, I mean, as Rock Steel type with great defense and Iron defense, and the fact that most of his team are physical attackers, I think we'll be alright. But yeah, we did need to be level 100 to make this fight possible. I'm pretty confident in that. Because we needed every single last drop of speed to outspeed Wailord. I don't check the stats of enemy Pokemon when I do these runs because I want to be surprised and not have it spoiled for me. So I actually didn't know. I was like, you know what, level 100, we're just going all in. And even then, it really was only possible because Tentacruel missed with Hydro Pump. But yeah, so we're here in Meteor Falls and we're about to throw down with Steven. Now, normally Skarmory is extremely annoying because it typically dictates the pace of the battle with Toxic, but we are part Steel type, so Toxic ain't doing squat to us. That said, Skarmory does like going for spikes on turn 1, which will give us a free turn to set up Iron Defense. We'll see if he goes for it, and yeah, he does. Cool, Iron Defense, awesome, we only need 2 more. Turn 2, Steel Wing buffs Skarmory, we buff ourselves with Iron Defense. Skarmory hits with Steel Wing and buffs itself again, but our defense is topped off, so we should be alright. And from here, we're just gonna use Rollout and hope for the best. We should be okay, though. Well, those Steel Wing buffs don't amount to a whole lot because he swaps to Aggron for some reason. So Thunder hits us, thankfully no Paralysis, and Solar Beam? Okay, that's an interesting choice in strategy. Well, Aggron did soak up our rollouts, but not a big deal. Out comes Armaldo, Iron Tail, yeah, get out of here. Claydol takes great damage off of Iron Tail, prompting Steven to use a full restore. The follow-up drops Claydol's defense, and then the follow-up to the follow-up takes it out. Gotta say, that Shell Bell's been real handy. Out comes Metagross, and even with its massive attack stat, Earthquake isn't doing all that much. We're doing more to it. The second Earthquake brings us to 36. We finish off Metagross and are now up to 50 health. And Skarmory crits us with Stealing, because of course it does. Well, that was a bunch of RNGs. Let's try again. As long as we're not on the receiving end of any unlucky fluke critical hits, we're gonna be alright. Second attempt largely starts off the same spikes, Iron Defense, and no tons of Steel Wing procs this time around. What is that, 10% for each one? Doesn't swap to Aggron, takes 3 rollouts to take out Skarmory. Armaldo's part Bug type, bye-bye. Out comes Claydol, does pitiful damage with Earthquake. The turn 5 rollout takes it out easily. Aggron goes for Solar Beam, but we have Earthquake. Double weak to it, easy one-shot. Metagross and Jaeger Bomb exchange Earthquakes with us dealing a lot more damage. We don't get crits, so down it goes. Last up is Cray-Dilly does a fair bit of damage with Giga Drain, but we don't miss Iron Tail, winning us the run. Well, I need a breather. Hey, Mr. Announcer, want to step in for me?
Some may say that it was luck that helped this team to advance. That doesn't matter to me, because the bottom line is that this team won. They just better keep in mind that luck works in many mysterious ways.
Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you at the next run. Later.